I just beat a tier 93 nightmare dungeon in Diablo 4. Yay! This is absolutely my personal best so far. It's taken me a while to beat 90 plus. It's pretty difficult and I couldn't do it for multiple days. I was trying with the build that I uploaded the other day. Check out the video if you haven't, with the rainbow imbues, triple imbue, ranged build. I just couldn't do it. There's just so many ways to die, and there's just so many ways to be more tanky as a melee rogue. So that's what I went back to, using twisting blades here. I'll go through the specifics of the gear and skills at the end of this video, and there's a link in the description as well. But you'll kind of figure out the build as you watch this. I'm turned this video into 6 challenges, sort of the highlights of this dungeon, so you don't have to watch the total 19 minutes that it took me to complete. And the first challenge being... Hear that noise? I don't like it. I'm starting to freak out. Basically, my strategy here, there's no way in the whole world that I am killing the Butcher. So if you kite him far enough from his spawn point, he will disappear. So my goal is just to get him to chase me until just he won't anymore. This build cannot kill a boss this easily, and especially not a Butcher level 147. Not happening. But I run out of space here, so I have to leave the dungeon. I've never done this before, and it looks like Butcher actually did leave me behind. And sure enough, he's not there anymore. I checked the map just to make sure, and he's gone indeed. So here, on to challenge number 2. In the high tier, pushing in Nightmare Dungeons, champions are a big problem for me. To reach them in the back, even the small mobs can kill you. So here's an example of me kiting them out of the room, and this build really thrives against small trash mobs because I have Smoke Grenade, which is like a stun, basically, an AoE stun, and I have my Poison Trap, which knocks down. So I got a lot of CC, and there's no protection for regular trash mobs against CC. You can stun them forever. And here spawns the cultist, or like the overseer that has the cultist key. So I just go straight into trying to kill this one. And the thing with elites in dungeon, or I guess in the game in general, is they have like an invisible unstoppable. For like 10 seconds, you can't CC them. You can CC them like at first when you see them, and after like 5 to 10 seconds of CC, you can't CC them for a while. They get like a, yeah, without having the chains above them, the icon of unstoppable, they are unstoppable for a bit. But thankfully I managed to kite this one out and CC it for the second time, and it works out. Third here, I found a conduit shrine, but there was nothing really hard about the first part. I wish I had seen the conduit shrine before the Butcher. Could have killed him with this. Conduit shrine is by far the strongest shrine to find because you can't die with it and you do a ton of damage. So luckily I managed to use it to get through this intermission event. I think I would have made it through this intermission event without it because there was no elites there. And so I make it through here to the second part of this dungeon. And this dungeon, as you might have seen, had Cold Enchant for the elites. And this is the first engagement with some Cold Enchanted mobs. A triple elite pack coming up. And these are intense monsters as well. The bandits here, or the cultists with the knives, they attack fast, they run fast. Luckily, I have this ladder that I can escape with. They obviously can't climb, that would be very scary. So 2 of them run off here, and I'm like, great, I can just solo this one guy by myself with this little wolf here. But what happens here is I accidentally climb the ladder again, which means I lose obedience stacks, and I threw a smoke grenade, but he was unstoppable without the icon. You just have to count the seconds until when you can seize them again. So I get kind of frustrated the fact that I just don't have any unstoppable in this build. So I respec 2 points to get my ultimate here. That gives me 5 seconds of unstoppable for a round 2 here. That's my first death so far in this tier 93. Obviously this is softcore. If you're hardcore, that would have been the end. But no, we're a softcore little baby here. So round 2, they are all back to full health, and I just get instantly blown up. The ultimate was on, I couldn't get CC'd, but the damage was there. Cold Enchanted hurts so much in this game. If you haven't seen Criparian's death in hardcore, he died from a Cold Enchanted monster.
Dude!
So I go in for 3rd times the charm here. I prepare multiple poison traps because the more poison traps I can get going, and poison damage in general, the more ticks I can get. My obedience goes to 100 faster. So here I get all the monsters, just champions down first. Very nice, while everything else was CC'd. I do get frozen here because my ultimate is on cooldown and my traps are ticking away here, which is beautiful. My obedience is up to 70 plus here, even though I'm not even fighting them. The ladder comes in handy, and here my boots aspect is beautiful, where I daze one of them and the other one gets dazed because I spread CC every time I lucky hit. So, or not every time, but I have a lucky hit effect that spreads the CC. So I stun one, it spreads to the second one, and I can breathe. Wow, that was a very tough pack right there. I respec back to what I had initially. I don't have the unstoppable anymore. And I run into, of course, another cold enchanted mob. I freak out because this wolf looks dangerous, and here we go. Do you see that trap that I had laid earlier? What I do in Nightmare Dungeons is as I go through, I'm like Hansel and Gretel, like leaving breadcrumbs. I leave poison traps throughout. So it's like a safety, security, that if I need to, like a reset, if I need to kite something, run back in the dungeon, I can safely run past my own traps and the monsters will get knocked down by the trap and I can get to safety, maybe TP home, get some new potions, etc. So I use that strategy for the second wolf in this pack. Usually these coming pack of 3, pretty much every time. So I use that same strategy a second time and of course a third time as well. Because basically the strategy of this whole build that I'm playing here is to CC any monster that I'm approaching for, you know, 3 to 7 seconds and kill them in that time. And if I can't kill them in that time, I need to kite back until I can CC them again. And yeah, so it's a CC based build, which is the only way I've really managed to push Nightmare tiers in this game, because every monster hurts so bad. And here we have the first High Priest, which is we need to kill 2 of them. And this one has Plague Bearer, so they're creating... I'm creating through my poison traps the lime green poison on the ground, which is great. It's on my team. But this this elite spawns this like brownish yellow color pit of poison on the ground, which hurts a lot. So, and this had Waller too, so I was really scared of getting locked down, like stuck with the wall somehow and get poisoned to death, but we made it through. And here I get scared from this bubble because it's clearly an elite, but it's inside the cage. I was very excited about that. Don't have to fight another cold enchanted suppressor elite. So we find the second final High Priest here of this dungeon. This is the final challenge of the tier 93 dungeon and seems to be going pretty well. I just go straight for the kill. I daze him with my smoke grenade, place a bunch of poison, and that's pretty much it for this whole dungeon adventure. Thank you for watching this, and check out how excited I get when I beat this. Yay! It's my birth year, 93.
You did it.
Alright, let me quickly run through the gear that I've got for my two-hander. Got the twisting blade, obviously. For my boots, very key. They're spreading CC. Both my slow off a puncture, my basic skill, and the daze and knock down all sorts of goodies. Here we got basic skills, 20 DR. We just want to be tanky. Just as tanky as we possibly can be. We got a lot of attack speed off of my gloves. Umbrius got a buff in the latest patch, and it helps to maintain our 5 Dark Shroud Shadows. And I've got distant damage reduction here. I think my only source of distant DR. Here on my helmet, this is like an insane helmet. Perfect life, perfect armor, almost perfect on the attack speed and cooldown reduction as well. And this amulet is where I get a lot of armor as well. DR from close, I get armor, weapon mastery, and movement speed, so we run pretty fast. Our rings here are not perfect. Our second ring boosts our core skills by 30% as we get those combo points going. More attack speed and of course condemnation for that bonus combo points. Damage. Onto our skill tree, puncture, twisting blade, defensive passives, some damage passives here, and because we use smoke grenade to daze, this is actually quite useful. We have basically permanent evades and we knock things down a lot. We have a maxed out Dark Shroud because it's so hard to survive in high tier Nightmare dungeons. Got some juicy passives. These help keep us alive. And then finally, energy generation, and of course, the momentum here for the 20% damage reduction as well. Onto finally here, our Paragon board, starting off with our closer into the cheap shot with our combat. If you want the details of this board, check the link in the description. Deadly ambush and diminish here. All of these glyphs give us DR, damage reduction basically. Because we're using combo points, this tricks of the trade is kind of a no-brainer with turf. And finally, no witness with exploit. That is our juicy build. Thank you for watching.